Pyromaniacs, it's me, RotoHeat Rick, here with RotoHeat Craig again, and today we are talking about running backs. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and I don't know, let's see if we can get 100 likes on this video. That would be great. We're not going to waste any of your time. We're going to hit the intro right now.
Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
We're back, and we are going to get right into these running backs. So, Craig, right off the top, who sticks out?
Boom. I don't care if it costs a fifth of my money. I'm putting CMC in. 10 grand. I ain't scared. Let's go.
A lot of people are projecting this guy for another 26 to 28 targets in week one. You know, in the wide receiver video, we talked about this game potentially being one of the shootouts, not because we have prolific quarterbacks and offenses, but because defenses are so bad that even bad offenses will be able to score. I mean, I will never argue against McCaffrey, but this week I think is also a great opportunity to get some leverage off of McCaffrey and go with a more balanced running back approach. Because what I think a lot of people are going to do is they're going to just auto plug McCaffrey and Gibson in, and that's $14K. Are you telling me that Ekeler and Kamara for $14.2 can't outscore McCaffrey and Gibson?
No.
So
listen, the Gibson hype it's out of control, guys. I know he cash value and it's already begun. Usually we wait till like week 3 when there's a running back injury before we have to deal with this. But you're right. Kamara and Ekeler are so talented, and for $200 more, they have to combine to do just as well, if not better.
Yeah, I mean, I won't never say that somebody has to, because we've seen it before where we feel like a guy's in a smash spot and then he puts up a 4.5 point week and we're like, what the hell's going on here? But I look at the next 3 guys and I'm very comfortable with all of them, and I save $2,100 at minimum. Dalvin Cook tore up Green Bay last year. Green Bay lost Blake Martinez. If they can't stop the run, Dalvin Cook's in a smash spot. Alvin Kamara, Tampa Bay, great against the run, but guess what happens? Kamara gets 10-plus targets against them. Ekeler, he is the guy. He averaged like 28 points without Melvin Gordon last year. Melvin Gordon's gone. We've seen all the workout videos. We've seen Hard Knocks. Ekeler is the dude, and I don't know why we would take – I would take Ekeler and just about anybody else and feel very comfortable that they outscore McCaffrey and Gibson, who is going to be a popular play this week. And if we're talking that pure stack there, if you want to differentiate, like if you want to get McCaffrey in there and you have to go to that 4K running back, we're just going to go right down there. Because what I would do and what I'm going to do in those lineups is, and this is, I don't care if we're talking GPP or if you want to differentiate your cash lineups a little bit. Let me find them here. 4K guys. He's not the only 4K option. The other one that is down here is one Chris Thompson. Antonio Gibson's here, 4K for Washington. And then Chris Thompson is in here somewhere, right around here. Maybe he was 4,100? Nope, there he is. Chris Thompson, yes, when he's hurt, he's out and you don't get to play him. But this guy gets 4, 3, 4, 8 targets a game. He's in the same system with the same coach that has loved him forever, that kept him around Washington through all the injuries. This guy is going to be involved in the passing game. We see 8 targets here he had against Green Bay. They're supposed to be trailing. 7 targets, 5 targets. Like when this guy plays, he gets targeted. He's probably going to get 6 carries to 8 carries too. So you're looking at a 12 to 15 touch guy. It is not crazy to think that Chris Thompson outscores Antonio Gibson. And if he does, you have just separated yourself from the entire pack. We'll obviously know more in the coming days on expected ownership. I expect it to be Gibson at like over 50%, and then Chris Thompson at like 6%, and a definite pivot play for me to differentiate those Christian McCaffrey lineups, because I feel like if you go Christian McCaffrey, you're automatically going one of them 4K running backs to fill out one of the other spots.
Yeah, if you're spending up for CMC, you have to save somewhere else. That's a certainty. There are other guys. I'm not opposed to Tariq Cohen at 4,900. This is gonna sound gross, but I don't hate Sony Michel if you got a CMC lineup. But I agree. Chris Thompson, he's in the perfect game script, right? Like they're gonna be behind, and Gruden loves him, so he's gonna get all the little dump offs, you would think. So I'm comfortable with him. Way more comfortable than I am with an unknown product in Antonio Gibson. So
Absolutely. Yeah, other than that, I do think that in cash games, in cash games there's no reason that you have to get away from Gibson, because he's going to be so high owned that, I mean, they call it the free square, right? You're not going to get beat if he doesn't. That's not going to beat you if he doesn't have a good week. Like if he scores 6 points, he's probably going to be 70% owned, 80% owned in cash games. That's not going to lose you your week. You can lose it if you go away from him and then he puts up 25 points. That's going to lose you your week. So I know we've had differing views on this, but it's you can't lose by playing Antonio Gibson in cash games.
no, I mean you're not wrong. Now, who was it? Was it Wayne Gallman last year? There was some Giants running back that I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not eating the chalk. And then within a couple of minutes of the kickoff, I'm getting these tweets about how he's falling into the end zone. Like,
That's and in cash games, that's why you eat that bullet and then, score your, differentiate yourself from the field in different areas where the ownership's going to be more leveled out. But I think the ownership in cash games is going to be like 80% Christian McCaffrey, Antonio Gibson stack. If you eat that and then win elsewhere, you're going to be all right. If you're risk adverse, then you can try to pivot off of that and do something different. But I would expect that to be very highly owned in cash games. I myself am probably going the balanced approach. And going with 3 high volume guys that I'm comfortable in, and may not have that McCaffrey, but that's the risk I'm willing to take because I just feel so much more comfortable with some of these mid-tier guys. We talked about the Eklers, Kamaras, and Cooks. I think they're great for every format. A lot of receiving upside and rushing upside, probably from Kamara, probably in the worst spot. Well, is in the worst spot for rushing, but New Orleans at home, I always trust more than on the road, and he's probably going to get 10 to 12 targets in that game. And then we get down to the Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs of the world. I think people are going to be off of Aaron Jones because of everything Green Bay did this year, and he's sandwiched in between Ekeler and Josh Jacobs. And I think people are going to look at Josh Jacobs and Mixon at 6,700, 6,800 and love those guys. I like one of them. I'm not on the other one. What do you think about this little range of running backs here?
I'll take Aaron Jones all day, thank you. If only because we know he has the pass catching acumen. Matt LaFleur, I'm pretty sure is secretly terrible, right? Last year's season would lead the casual fan to think that he's actually a pretty good coach, but I'm pretty sure he's terrible, and he may in fact ruin all the running back value on that team. But they don't have anyone to pass it to. We've talked about this in the wide receivers. Rodgers already likes to target Aaron Jones out of the backfield. He's dynamic. I love it, and in cash or GPP, especially on DK where it's full point PPR plus there are receiving and rushing bonuses. I like Aaron Jones a lot more than Josh Jacobs, even though Jacobs is a phenomenal pure running back and he's on a team that in theory will win this game, so he would maybe get more work, but I'm way more comfortable with Aaron Jones than I am with Josh Jacobs in a vacuum. Add to that the fact that I think more people will be on Josh Jacobs, and I'm comfortable fading him. Mixon, I love him personally as a player. I think he's amazing. I just don't know what to expect out of this Cincinnati offense. So give me Aaron Jones for $200 more personally.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And Josh Jacobs, if he can get to catching 3 to 4 passes a week, that would be great. And I would plug him in everywhere until he gets up to 8,000 in salary easily, probably even higher than that, just because of how good of a runner he is. But until I see that, I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe the talk of, he says, I want to catch 60 passes. They bring in all kinds of pass catchers. It's a little easier pill to swallow since they released Riddick and traded Bowden and all of that, but I'm just not buying into it. Nick Chubb, somebody I'm completely fading in a game script where they're expected to lose by 9. Don't want it. Drake at 6,400. I think Drake is going to be kind of popular this week, and I love Kenyon Drake, the player, but I don't think that I'm going to be on Drake this week because people are going to remember what he did last year against San Francisco, all the hype for this offense. He might go a little bit higher owned here than I would like. If that trend is different, then I may sneak him in because they want to use him even more in the passing game. But if he is going to be one of the higher owned running backs in this range, I would rather move down to a Miles Sanders in this area because of the complete upside. I think Miles Sanders will play no matter what. But if it comes down to the two, it's definitely Miles Sanders for me. I think he's just too cheap at 6,300 in a game where they're expected to win, but the spread's not so crazy that they're going to, quit passing, which he is very active in. Miles Sanders is a guy that I like a lot this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. This whole range from Sanders on up, with the exception of Chubb for sure, and possibly Jacobs, everyone is pretty active in the passing game. And Sanders, again, it's sort of like Green Bay. Who does Philly have in their receiving core now? Deshaun, that's awesome. Maybe late season hero Greg Ward makes a reappearance. Arcega-Whiteside wasn't very good last year. You can only make so much bread and butter off of your tight ends. So I think Sanders is going to be, if he's healthy and can stay on the field, right? Because he seems to have a lot of lower body soft tissue stuff that crops up. But if he's healthy at 6,300, he's every bit the value that Ekeler and Aaron Jones and those guys are.
Absolutely. To speed this up a little bit, we got Chris Carson, Gurley, Fournette, James White, Montgomery is out, Mostert, Jonathan Taylor, Le'Veon Bell, Mark Ingram, and Devin Singletary, from 5,400 to 6,200. Is there anybody in that group that you have any interest in at all?
No, I mean, I want to like Gurley, but I don't think that I can. I don't see anybody else that I would be interested in. If I knew Marlon Mack, ended up on the COVID list before the game or something and wasn't going to play, then Taylor is obviously great. But I'm not comfortable playing any of those guys. in cash or GPP. There's no upside for any of them, I don't think.
Yeah, I have interest
Maybe
in Gurley in GPP. Um, I also have a little interest in Monster and Mark Ingram in GPP. Ingram based off that team total, and I expect him to be the main goal line back for this Baltimore team early. Uh, it is a little scary with the three-headed monster that they've got there right now, but I think there is upside there for GPP plays at 5,500. Monster, if he ends up getting all the work or 75% of the work and is even close to as efficient as he's been over the last 2 years with his carries, could be a huge value at 5,800. But I wish he caught some more passes. But we know with San Francisco, there's always rushing touchdown upside, right? So a lot of times we hope our running back gets a touchdown. We can literally hope that our 49ers running back gets 2 and potentially 3. If Jeff Wilson doesn't come in and vulture 2 of them.
What's the problem with that backfield and with that coach, man? He inherited the Shanahanigans from his father, but they got 4 decent running backs, and they will use all 4 of them. I hate it. I love it. The scheme is great. The talent is there. I just don't know that there's enough potential opportunity to see the huge upside in a game where, I mean, I think Arizona's going to put up a lot of points. I'm kind of on the Arizona bandwagon this year. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm really on anyone in San Francisco other than, Kittle, obviously. That's for a different video.
Looking at this next group, there's one guy that I have interest in, and that is Kareem Hunt. Actually, 2 with Tariq Cohen. I will have a little bit of Tariq Cohen. I just don't expect him to be as heavily utilized. I mean, kind of like last year where he kind of let us down after the big year, the previous year. I don't know how Patterson is going to be. Either ways, if Cleveland is behind, Kareem Hunt, new contract, every bit as good as Nick Chubb, better all around than Nick Chubb. He's going to be involved in the passing game. I'll have some Kareem Hunt this week in a game where they're expected to lose by 9.
Yeah, I'll have Hunt too, especially. I mean, all I had to hear were the whispers in the summertime about Hunt being split out wide, and I thought, okay, I'm in. This guy's too good. Cohen, I can see the path to big games. Right now, I'm not. It's hard to rely on him for cash, but he is dynamic. I don't know how there isn't going to be positive regression coming for him and for this entire offense this year. So he's a guy that could put up some points for 4,900. Other than that, I mean, Ronald Jones, Jordan Howard, these are like the 2 least exciting running backs.
I will say that, right under there, Boston Scott, if, we've seen Sanders has that Q next to his name. If you want to talk about the value play, if Sanders is out, Boston Scott's in every one of my lineups.
Oh, absolutely. And he's probably that's where my risk tolerance is coming into play because, I mean, we know he's good and we saw what he did at the end of last year. So if he ends up being the guy on a team that's depleted of passing weapons, then for that price, he's locked and loaded for sure. After him, who are you comfortable playing? Nobody, I don't think. This is the problem with week 1 builds this year is that you have to spend up on those running backs, or you have to just throw a couple darts and get lucky. And, maybe Zach Moss falls into the end zone a couple times. Other than that, there's after Boston Scott, there is nothing for me that I see.
I mean, I think Gibson's a viable play at 4,000. I just think he's going to be the only reason why I'm not going to play him is because of the ownership. And then a perfect way to just differentiate is with Chris Thompson. So I do think there's those guys underneath there that are viable at their price. But other than that, I'm not looking at any of those guys unless we hear Chicago's going to give Ryan Nall all the action or Cordarrelle Patterson all the action at, 3,400 at wide receiver. He's a wide receiver and he might get all the action at running back, so who the hell knows. But that is it for the running back video. Greg, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to help me record this. I'm so excited for this week and this season. I want to remind everybody to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on the video. Make sure you get over to Facebook and join the RotoHeat DFS group. RotoHeat.com/Discord to get in the Discord. And
in that Discord, it is the best. It is so valuable. We're already talking lineups in there. So get in there.
Absolutely. And then also, if you have questions, go ahead and drop them on this video. If you have some plays that we didn't mention, if you have some running backs that you're wondering what we're thinking about, drop it on the video. We'll answer them. And we will be back with tight end video and quarterback video later this week.
Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to. Do it.